Season paradox. Two teams from the bottom half of the Premier League meet in the Europa League Final. So let's break down in detail what happened in this match. Manchester United played their usual system with a back five. In possession, only Casemiro stayed in the holding midfield role. United played vertically as there were almost no passing options between the lines. The main option for progressing the ball was often targeting Rasmus Højlund as a target man, hoping he would win the first ball or at least challenge the defender and allow United to win the second ball. However, Højlund won only 33% of his aerial duels. The midfield looked very immobile, and even obvious passing lanes weren't being opened, with decision-making being highly questionable. Bruno Fernandes, positioned behind Spurs' pressing block, had a lot of space but simply wasn't receiving the ball. Here's another example where there were no options to build out from the back via short passes. A long ball from Luke Shaw gets blocked. I want to separately highlight the wingback positions. Patrick Dorgu played wide, actively joining the attack and delivering crosses from the flank. Meanwhile, the right wing-back Noussair Mazraoui operated in the half space, providing width for Amad Diallo. This made total sense, as Amad is the more technically gifted player who can beat his man 1 versus 1, and he was getting isolated situations, which he exploited well. He was the brightest player on the pitch, attempting 11 dribbles and taking 2 shots, one of which was on target. He consistently looked to create danger and took initiative, something most United players seemed afraid to even consider. Once again, here's a moment where absolutely no one is asking for the ball between the lines. This was a clear trend throughout the game. The plan was to attack through the wings, where technically skilled players would beat their markers and send in crosses or cutbacks into the box. Manchester United often attacked the final third with 4 players, quite a high number. One would move into the near side half space, one into the central zone, and usually 2 players approach the far post. United delivered 30 crosses in this match, but only 2 shots came from them. As we can see, the crossing-based approach completely failed. In pressing, Manchester United covered the central zones decently. The duo of Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount blocked off the holding midfielders, while Casemiro tightly marked his direct opponent. This left Spurs mostly relying on long balls. At the 41st minute, a pass from Bruno Fernandes was intercepted. It seemed like nothing dangerous, a 4-6 situation. Spurs weren't even attacking quickly. They shifted the ball wide, resulting in a 2-3 in United's favor. Bruno noticed the runner and was ready to track back and defend. I just can't understand how, in a numerical advantage situation on the flank, both Casemiro and Mazraoui were so passive and allowed Richarlison to thread a through ball between them. That's unbelievable. A complete lack of proactivity in ball recovery. But even that wasn't the decisive moment. The ball went back to the flank. Once again, Mazraoui didn't close down, gave space to his man, and allowed a comfortable cross into the box. And then came the main mistake. Luke Shaw, who was in a better position, should have reached the ball first, but a Spurs player made a run from behind his back and got there first. And let's not forget about Andre Onana. Why even jump there when the ball is a meter away from you? Just dive quickly into the bottom corner. As the saying goes, the kind of teams, the kind of goals, the kind of final, a complete circus. In the second half, Bruno Fernandes finally dropped deeper, started to seek the ball between the lines, and took more control of the game. In possession, he even dropped alongside Casemiro, forming a midfield double pivot. However, overall, there were no tactical changes. United still lacked numbers on the wings and continued relying solely on individual skill. In the 68th minute, the Spurs goalkeeper made a mistake coming out for a cross, dropping the ball. Højlund struck towards an open goal, but Micky van de Ven made an incredible goal line clearance with a flying kick, a top-class defensive moment. Later, after a few substitutions, United finally organized a decent attacking move. A cross came into the box, Joshua Zirkzee found space between the lines and, with a one-touch pass, released Mazraoui. Zirkzee drew out a center-back, opening space for Bruno Fernandes to make a run. And this was the first real moment in the game where United had a numerical and dynamic advantage in the final third. Bruno even got a shot off after the cross. Spurs spent the last 12 minutes in a complete low block, defending almost with a line of 11 players. And of course, with the whole team sitting deep inside the box, there was no space for cutbacks or second-phase attacks to create any danger. The final moment of the match was a huge save from Guglielmo Vicario after a shot from the penalty spot area. Terrible football from both teams, but Tottenham defended better and survived United's attempts. Finally, Spurs win a trophy, the first in Son Heung-min's career, and most importantly, Champions League football next season. The 17th place Premier League team will now play in the Champions League. Let me know in the comments, are these Europa League teams just that bad? Or is the Premier League competition just that strong? Manchester United are in a terrible state. Something needs to change at the club, but it will be very hard to attract top players to a project with no European football. Like the video, share your thoughts about the match in the comments, and subscribe for more football analysis content.